the one, the only, Ben Good afternoon and welcome to Yeshiva YouTube, Iyun to Lean On. Today we're doing Siman Reish Lamed Hey 235 Shulchan Aruch. Talks about Hilchos Kriya Shema and Ma'arav. One of the halachas of Kriya Shema, at least the Kriya Shema Shel Arvis, is that the period of saying Kriya Shema starts at Seisak of Chavim, L'Chatchila. Even if you said it once Shkia hits, you Yotze. And it goes until Alos, the dawn. Unless you're Anas, unless you're sick or you're shikr or you got drunk at a wedding. So then you have technically until Nates Acham to say that Kriya Shema. Why? Because Kriya Shema is not dependent on day or night. It's dependent on Shach B'chav Komecha. You say Kriya Shema B'Shach B'chav Komecha. Really, Kriya Shema is really learning Torah. Really, that's what it is. No mitzvah. The mitzvah of Kriya Shema is the essential mitzvah of Kovei Itim. That's really what Kriya Shema is. Right? Shema Yisrael. Where is our mitzvah to say Kriya Shema? There's no mitzvah to say Kriya Shema. The Dibarta Bam B'Shivtecha V'Yisecha V'Ledach Hashav Komecha. The Dibarta Bam is talking about Torah. Right? Chazal, the Torah Institute, the Torah mandated, Midoraisi, you have to be Kovei Itim L'Torah. The minimum being Kovei Itim L'Torah is what? It's saying Kriya Shema in the morning and Kriya Shema at night. That's really Kovei Itim L'Torah. The only thing you have to Kovei Itim L'Torah, you have to learn an hour in the morning, an hour at night. And the Gemara already says this very clearly in many places, that don't tell Amaratzim, it says. But really, I'm telling all the Amaratzim out there, because I'm an Amaratz myself, and I know this, is that you could be Yotzei, Kviyas Itim L'Torah, which is a mitzvah midoraisa of Libana Torah every day, through saying Kriya Shema. I'm really saying Kriya Shema. And the word that it uses is B'Shach B'cha, when you're lying down and you're sleeping. Now, not everyone wakes up before dawn. Maybe the farmers did in yesteryear, but nowadays people sleep in late. People sleep at 9 o'clock. But since some people, and there's a considerable amount of people, are still sleeping between Alos Shachar to Nates, before Nates Achama, once the sun comes out on the horizon, Nates Achama, you see the sun, then you can't say Kriya Shema. That's called Kumecha. It's not people are not sleeping. That is that. How do we define that time? Now we define that time. People are getting up. Now this time could also be called Uvkumecha also, right? You could also say Kriya Shema of Shachris between Alos and Nates. You could exactly, but you can't do it on the same day, right? You can't say Kriya Shema Shal Arvis and Shachris between Alos and Nates because that's Tarti the Sastra, like we said before. You can't define a period of time on one day as both being the time when you go to sleep and the time when you get up, because it's either or. So it's Tarti the Sastre. But a person, and I think, as opposed to Tfilas Mincha, where the Gemara says the Avid Kamar Avid, the Avid Kamar Avid, and the Gemara says the Zman between Plaga Mincha and Shkia, right? You can either define that as a time for Mincha or a time for Marav. And I explained over there, you really have to paskin like one of them your entire life. If you want to alter what if you normally daven mincha after plaga mincha, now you want to start davening ma'ariv after plaga mincha, you have to be mater neder. If you want to change that course the rest of your life, that's really what you should do. L'chadchila. Here it is a little different. Here it doesn't say David Kamar Avid, I believe. The Gemara basically is just saying that b'shach b'chav kamech, it's a time possibly for both. It's a time for saying Kriya Shema Shachar and Kriya Shema Arvis. To say both Kriya Shema Shal Arvis and Shachar, it doesn't make any sense at that point during one day. But 2 different days you can change off. So I don't know where the Shulchan Aruch gets this, that the only time you can rely on saying Kriya Shema Shal Arvis after Alos, between Alos and Nes, is when you're Anas, when you're a Shikr or a Chola. I believe it comes from the Mishnah of Mesachas Brachos, with a story of Gamliel, where the Gemara says that basically you still have time to say Kriya. They were drunk at the wedding, his sons, when they came back. So he said, you can still say it. I believe the Gemara says on Daf Ches or Test, they can say it until Nates. But I don't know if it's only limited to that case where you're honest. If the reason that the Mishnah Berurah explains is that Chazal were oker. The Chazal said, even though technically it's called Shach B'cha, and on purpose I waited to say Kriya Shema until after Los HaShachar, before Nates. Chazal had the ability to say, you're not Yotze the mitzvah. I don't believe that Chazal have the ability to take away the mitzvah. Chazal can say, don't do a mitzvah, right? If you, right, there's a gzeira they made. If the first day of Sukkot falls out on Shabbos, you don't take a lulav on the first day. Yesh koch b'yadchem la'akor davar min haTorah b'sheiv al taseh. They can tell you, don't do it. Don't shake a lulav on the first day of Sukkot if it falls out on Shabbos. Why? Because you might come to carry, right? That's the purpose. They abrogated it, even though the Torah said they're allowed to abrogate it. But if I went ahead and I took a lulav on the first day of Sukkot, was I yotzi the mitzvah of lulav? Of course. I violated what the Rabbanan said. Maybe it's a mitzvah of Ba'avera Rabbanan, but I was yotzi the mitzvah. Whatever the Torah mandates, the rabbis have no ability to change what the Torah says. I don't believe that. So here also, if you're could be yotze, it's called shachbecha. Whether you do it on purpose or whether you're honest, you're yotze. You should have listened to the Rabbanan. Maybe in a case of they only wanted you in a case of chole or onus to say it after alos, but if you did it on purpose and then you did tshuva, why not? Why not? You can't take away my ability. The Torah is d'oraisa. The Rabbanan will never have more authority than the Torah. That's truly what I believe. This comes up in Masechah Sukkah also, where it's a machlokes in the Rishonim over there, where the Gemara talks about if you have a sukkah, where I forgot exactly the case. You have a sukkah that's smaller. Rosho and Ruba are in the sukkah, but you need, in order to be in the sukkah, you have to be Rosho, Ruba, V'Shulchano. Most of your body and the table has to be in the sukkah. And the Rabbanan said you shouldn't a shulchano, if your table is outside the sukkah and most of your body is in the sukkah, you shouldn't take from the table outside the sukkah and eat in the sukkah. That's a gzeira they made. Malach Beis Shammai, so Beis Shammai makes a gzeira. And they say, I think the Tanaim say, Beis Shammai said, then you weren't Makayim the mitzvah. Some Rishonim understand that you're not Yotzei the mitzvah d'oraisa. Chazal said, because this is Gzeira, Shema Yimashach HaShulchana, you might go ahead, if the food is out on the table, you might go ahead and start eating out of the sukkah. And you're not allowed to eat certain things outside the sukkah. So therefore they said, even though I took from the table, I'm eating outside the sukkah, I'm not Yotzei the mitzvah of eating in the sukkah. It's considered like I ate outside the sukkah, I did a Aveira. I don't believe Chazal have the ability to deal with that. We'll get to Hilchos Sukkah and Hilchos Lulav. We'll talk about that. But that's my perspective over here. I hope you enjoyed today's share. See you in the next one.